What's up everyone, it's Will from Kuzuya Gaming, and I'm here with the review for the new zombie survival Back 4 Blood. You may know Turtle Rock Studios as the creator of Left 4 Dead, which is a co-op shooter game where players take control of one of 4 survivors to fight through hordes of zombies in order to reach the next safe house. Well, this is not that game. We all know how Valve seems to feel about trilogies, so it's no surprise this game isn't called Left 4 Dead 3, but it's clear that was the intent. With the many similarities, it sure feels like a spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series. The most obvious being that it's a 4-man shooter with the goal being not to clear the zombies, but to survive until you reach the next safe house. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world where fighting zombies known as Ridden is just a way of life. We find ourselves part of a closely knit group with the matriarch known as Mom. When we join our family, they seem to be in the middle of some back alley deal when Ridden began to swarm out of nowhere. The plot is just an excuse to kill zombies, and you likely won't become too invested in it. Having something to do with the Ridden and what they're doing to survive, the details of which I'm not really sure. The gameplay is the key selling feature here, that it's a 4-player over-the-net co-op game. Teamwork is key, and getting the tools to make life easier sure does help. From buying toolkits to skip some areas for faster runs, to buying defibrillators to res dead teammates, poor planning or a lack of tools is a surefire way to end a run early. When players take too much damage, they're downed, giving teammates a chance to revive them. Each player has a limited number of end caps, or incapacitations. If your timer runs out or you use up all your end caps, you die. And then you spectate the rest of the game until a teammate finds your body nested in flesh on a wall somewhere inside the level. If all players are down, you fail, and you're only given one continue, so if you fail again, you have to start a new run. Since you only get checkpoints at every level on the easiest difficulty setting, getting to the next checkpoint can sometimes be challenging and lead to hours of gameplay for little progress. Back 4 Blood focuses more on multiplayer with a co-op campaign and replayability with the new card system. At the beginning of every level, you choose from cards from a deck you make beforehand. These cards give players bonuses to certain stats such as increased damage, run speed, health, and stamina. The biggest bonuses also come with some drawbacks like decreased damage resistance, less stamina, and etc. In addition to players choosing from cards from a pre-made deck, the game also chooses cards known as corruption cards. These cards, like the player's cards, give the game advantages such as bosses with armored weak points and increased health for enemies. To add cards to your deck, you must unlock cards through supply lines with supply points, or SP. SP is earned from completing co-op levels. There is also a solo story mode that unlocks all cards, but without the SP portion of the gameplay, it offers little in terms of replayability. With a plot that has slightly more depth than a kiddie pool, don't expect a story-driven narrative. Instead, prepare for an action-packed, non-stop thrill ride that will suck you in for hours on end. With 8 playable survivors known as Cleaners, this wisecracking, zombie-killing bunch drives most of the interest in the game with the funny interactions they have while mowing down unending hordes of the Ridden and mutations alike. My personal favorite is Walker, who gives teammates extra health and does extra damage. As an army vet, he doesn't offer much in terms of quips, but when he does break his normal silence, it's worth the wait. It didn't take long for me to be fully invested in Back 4 Blood's upbeat mood, despite being surrounded by all variations of gray and blue, spackled with a canopy of blood and guts. With players also not immune to being coated in the gooey insides of Ridden, it's sometimes hard to tell the difference between the two. With every playable character having its own set of strengths, choosing sometimes can come down to your personal group tactics. Spare you a full breakdown of all the characters, but suffice to say, try them all. Each of the cleaners start with a different set of weapons and equipment, and the primary weapons are broken down into 5 categories: assault rifle, submachine gun, shotgun, light machine gun, and sniper rifle. Secondary weapons are the Belgian, the Magnum, the M911, the Desert Eagle, the Tech 9, the Glock 23 Auto, the Glock 23, the Beretta M9, the Beretta M9 Burst, and then melee weapons are the Bat, the Fire Axe, the Machete, the Hatchet, and the Knife. All weapons besides the melee weapons can be equipped with mods. Types of mods include optics, barrels, magazines, and stocks. With way too many to list, just keep an eye out for my detailed Back 4 Blood weapons guide. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out small YouTubers like myself. Anyways, back to the video. Combat felt as smooth as you would expect for a title with this pedigree, with movement and aiming feeling natural. Personally, I really enjoyed playing this game. It accounted for many sleepless nights. Time seems to not exist while you're fighting off Ridden. It's a gift and it's a curse. The AI at the time of writing this needed some serious polishing, with bot cleaners and ogres being the worst of them. Oftentimes I would find them stuck on some piece of clipping or just sitting in the corner, maybe thinking about what they had done. Also, players have outsmarted the devs and learned a way to farm SP, breaking the supply line progression pretty quickly. Nevertheless, it's still brought enough to the table to keep me engaged from playing for hours on end. The cross-platform play is a standard I think more games should adopt, although I did notice a clear difference in load times from last-gen systems to my PC. And I also noticed that Xbox seems to have a crashing issue, with the other platforms not experiencing this problem. However, it did not stop Xbox players from really enjoying the game and making up most of the community. After hearing about it being a part of Game Pass, it's no surprise, but in my opinion, getting a game like this for free will likely sway your resolve in pushing the game's limits in terms of difficulty. With a steep difficulty curve and the newness of the game, it didn't seem like many had made it past Act 2 on even Veteran, and I noticed a clear lack of players while trying to queue up runs in said difficulty, with most trying to farm SP for buying new cards before really testing their skills. At the time of writing this, only about 9% of PC players had passed Act 2 on Veteran, and slightly less than 5% Act 4 on Veteran. And with a very lacking player versus player mode, that rounds out the negatives that I found for the game myself. Overall, I would say this game is really enjoyable, and with the randomness of the card system, it ranks really high on replayability. But remember, as with all internet games, there's a level of toxicity with online players, so learning to mute players early on is fairly important. But even with it doesn't really take anything away from the game. I would for sure suggest everyone buy this game, although I would suggest playing it on Recruit before you play it on Veteran. Well, thanks for watching this video. I'm Will from Kuzuya Gaming, and I'll see you in the comment section.